Hello, my name is Andre, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can include CKEditor into your application. For those who don't know CKEditor, it's a rich text editor with many features. I will use a base application for taking notes. This application I built, I basically generated it in Cursor and adjusted it a little bit. So if you want to know more about the application, just go to the description and you will have the link to the repository and to the video how I build it. But you will also see the overview right after this intro. So I will just pick a sample of the features that CKEditor provides to fit this showcase. So if you have your system or app and you want to include CKEditor into that, just follow along. Okay, so this is the repository. It's called onChange Notes. It's under my personal GitHub profile. And yeah, let's go through it. So it's basically a listing detail application of the notes. And there are some information about how you can get started and how you can start the development environment. And it's being deployed on Vercel. So I just open up the deployment. You can see I already had a couple of nodes there. So I'm creating a new one with some content. I'm editing the content, yeah. And the content is changed. I can delete the node, and that's basically it. It looks okay, but as you can see, the area where you are editing the content, it's not really user-friendly. So let's add the CKEditor in there. So to get it done, you just clone the repository. I already did that. So I'll show you that my remote is pointed to the application. Everything is up to date, and my remote URL is the repository that I just showed you. I already installed the dependencies, so I will just run npm run dev, which will spin up the development environment and we can start building. Just to double check, let's go to the README. I have the prerequisites all in place, and I'm running npm run dev. There you go. So we can open up the application. I already have a couple of nodes there, so I'll clean it up. And yeah, let's add the CKEditor. All right, let's pause here on the CKEditor homepage. I'm gonna use the premium features of the CKEditor, so I will use my free trial account. So if you want to follow along and play or do what I am doing, just register to the CKEditor and start a trial. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm logging into the CKEditor portal, and if you can see, I have a 14-day trial. And we'll just go ahead and go throughout the quick start. We'll go to the builder. We'll select the preset. We'll pick the features that we want to. We'll customize the toolbar if you want to, and then we'll start integrating it. So let's get to it. Here, CKEditor Builder provides a lot of presets that has various look and feel and use cases. Yeah, there is a Notion-like editor, micro editor, classic editor, document editor that looks like OpenOffice or MS Word, inline editor, and balloon editor, which is a really nice toolbar right in line the editor itself. But for the case or for the usage that I will need it, I will start with classic editor starter. So toolbar at the top with a couple of features, and that's it. So let's pick the functionalities that I think are fitting the use case, like find and replace and format copy that helps you to work with your nodes. I would like to show you the AI Assistant at the end. So we'll pick the AI Assistant with OpenAI. As you can see, I'm using advanced view so that you see all the features that CKEditor provides and that you can use. I'm allowing exporting to PDF. Of course, you need a basic text formatting for the node adjustments. I'm adding the headings. Yeah, horizontal line and code blocks. Yeah, sometimes I need to copy and paste a couple of code snippets, so I will use it as well. Then there is an images section with CK box. There are lists which are super important for nodes. There is also a to-do list and multi-level list. There are tables, page management, and advanced HTML editing, but I won't be using them. Let's move on to the next step, which you will configure your toolbar. You can have a balloon toolbar and a block toolbar. You can have a wrapped toolbar. I don't like it, so I will leave it off. The balloon toolbar, I think it's a little bit more of an overkill to have two toolbars, because yeah, you don't expect to have miles long text in the nodes application, but if you need it for your use case, I think it might be viable. And you can use these blocks to move things around, so if you're interested, you can turn it on or not. Okay, let's go to the last step, and this is the installation and the summary. So we have 4 premium features and 15 free features. And on the right side, we have the walkthrough process, how we can install and integrate our CKEditor based on the configuration we put together. So I'm choosing React, Cloud CDN, and here let me pause a little bit and show you the code, copy code snippets. I won't follow the instructions per se, because yeah, this instruction basically shows you how you can integrate the CKEditor as the app component, which is the main component of the application, mostly in React. I would like to create a component. I will call it RichText. I will use the snippets, but I will adjust them a little bit so that we have a reusable component that we can use out throughout the application. In our case, it will be just one place, but yeah, if you have multiple places or multiple components you would like to use the CKEditor, this is more future-proofed setup. So let's get to it. The first step is the same. You will install the CKEditor package. So I will stop the development environment and I will copy and paste the installing command. It will install the dependency for me and it will list this dependency in the package.json as standard. So once it's all installed, there you go. I will switch back and I will copy the styles for the rich text component or for the CKEditor. And I already sneak peeked, so I will create components folder because it's a good practice. I will call the CSS richtext.css. I paste the CSS styles in there. And now I will create the component called RichText.tsx. And copy and paste the content of the React component being in place. Okay, I went a little bit different way, so I need to adjust two things in this file. First is just my minor detail, which is not really important, but I will rename the function that is exported by default. I will call it RichText. And the second thing, which is actually important, it's I changed the name of the CSS file, so I need to adjust it here as well. Okay, so I have my component, and let's test it out. Let's walk through the content. So basically, what it does, it imports the CKEditor. It imports all of the features that we basically configured in our builder. It will set them up in this component. So you can see it prevails some of the configuration. In the export PDF, it defines the file name and this kind of thing. So there are additional options that you can use and adjust right now, but we will use everything that has been generated as default. As you can see, some initial data are being in place, so we'll get to them later. Yes, there is a license key being in place. We'll get to it as well. And at the end of the day, it's basically just a configuration, and then you are provided with a couple of components. In this case, it's Classic Editor and CKEditor. And once everything is correctly formatted, because I like it this way, it will be helpful later on, we can add our rich text component, which is basically wrapped CKEditor with this configuration, into our application. So there it is. Yeah, I forget there is one function which basically will remind us of API keys that we don't have set. We'll get to it later as well. All right, going to the no detail, and let's add our rich text component. There are no properties or no props, so I will just add it and see how it works in our application. There you go, it's imported. It's being rendered right next to the, or right down from the text area. Let's open up the dev environment and see. And here we are, we have a pop-up. Yeah, this is the things that we will get to later. And yeah, we have the CKEditor with some data and the content that has been provided. So this is our first content from CKEditor. And here we go. What we need to do first, yeah, you can see the styling is a little bit off. Something is overflowing. So we'll just basically extend the base of the node detail container. So now it's strictly set to 600 pixels. So let's set it up to 100%. And once we have it, we also need to adjust this content and this editor itself. So go to the RichText.tsx. You can see it's strictly fixed to 795 pixels, and we can customize it. So I'm customizing it to 100%. Okay, I need to add this as well to the main content container, and here we go. It basically now looks more or less the same as the textarea, but with the power features. So now we have it, but still the source of the truth and the content being loaded, it's from the textarea. So the next step is load the data from our local storage and provide it to the CKEditor. So let's start with it. It's fairly easy. So if you take a look to the rich text component, and I already pointed out that here in initial data, there were some dummy data being prepared. So just define a property called content, which will be a string, from the parent component, which is our application, or basically application detail, or sorry, node detail. And I will provide it with this content, and this content will be set as the initial data when the detail is being loaded. There you go. And then now I need to provide this data from the node detail, or from the all occurrences that uses rich text, which is just this one. Fairly simple, adding the property and adding node.content. So now if I load our node detail, you can see the data is loaded, great. But I'm making changes about loading is done. But yeah, we need to handle storing the data when we are changing the text. So let's get to it as well. It's again fairly simple. What do we need to do? Here in textarea, we are using onChange event, and then we are calling handle change, which we already have implemented. So I will create the same property for the rich text. I will call it onChange, and as the definition of the method, it will be a function that basically gets the string and return void. So if I get the content, I call the handle change right in the node detail, and it works as in the text area. But I need to define it in the component itself. So once again, as I did with the content, I call it onChange, so it can be a little bit confusing, because now I have the property of our rich text component called onChange, which basically gets the string and return nothing, so return void. But to hook it up with the CKEditor component, I will use the property called onChange because the CKEditor property is called the same way as I did. So now it will be a little bit confusing. I should have probably changed a different name for this onChange handler, but it's already recorded, so let's do it. Yeah, let me just adjust the formatting so that we have it in place. It just complies that it's not being used, but we will use it in a second. So down there in the definition of the HTML, not that far, a little bit up, we are going to use our onChange event. So now we are using onChange handler of the CKEditor, and in the implementation we will be calling the onChange handler that we have just defined. So this is the onChange interface from the CKEditor. I'm getting the event and the editor, and yeah, after reading documentation, the data you can get by editor.getData. Now I need to call the prop that I just defined, which is called the same onChange. So yeah, a little bit confusing by the naming, but yeah, in the CKEditor onChange event, I'm calling my onChange event of the rich text editor component. I will probably rename it afterwards, so you will see the different naming, so it doesn't really conflict with anything else. Yeah, and I'm missing the comma, and after a while I will find it out. No, I'm not. The config, we will get to it later. So now it works. Here you can see it works as well. I just forget the curly bracket closing, but here if we open up the application and reload it, again click on the alert, we will get to it in a second. If I'm changing the text area, nothing happened, but if I'm changing the CKEditor, everything happens because it's happening afterwards. So now we don't really need the text area, because yeah, we already are storing the content. Now it's not string anymore, it's basically HTML. So you can see on the top, which you have a little bit of the preview of the content that is being changed, because yeah, the source of truth is the same. So yeah, let's delete the text area. And here we are. We have just the detail. We have all the editing capabilities that we provided, but the AI assistant, we will get to it in a second. But we can use everything that we need. Okay, here we are. So now let's speed up the screen recording, and I will just walk you through the basic features. So yeah, I'm adding the heading. I'm trying the basic typography like bold, italics, underline, superscript, some code parts, horizontal line. Yeah, I go one by one so that I don't forget anything. Now adding the link with some URL, so you can see even the models are being in place. It looks smooth. There are no like visual issues for now. I'm adding the code block. I'm trying to adding the code block with the syntax highlight or type of the language being prepared. And now let's go to the most important part in our notes for this showcase, and these are the lists. So yeah, you can use ordered list, unordered list, to-do list, and nested list. So let's do a quick checkout. Okay, I'm using ordered, unordered. Hopefully I will showcase you even the listing. There you go. This is super useful for me because yeah, I'm using this nested mix of the list all the time. And that's basically it. Let's end up with the last feature, and this is the export to PDF. So I exported it. You can see it looks like as you saw it, so you get the PDF as you're expecting. And let's move to the new feature. and this is continuous painting. I love this feature as well because you can just select the parts of the text and then copy and paste their format on multiple places. Yeah, and let's wrap it up with find and replace. I just found out the typo, so I'm trying to showcase that it's working. So I replaced the typo with 1, and that's it. Now we have the features in place, but you probably saw it blink when I went back that the preview doesn't look good. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the preview. You can see that you can clearly see the HTML markdown being rendered. So let's do the quick and dirty fix. This is not the long-term solution, but for the sake of this use case, let's just use set dangerouslySetInnerHTML property for the node preview. So yeah, I will just copy and paste it, and instead of pasting the content into the paragraph, I will render it directly, and I will just use the slice of first 100 characters. Yeah, and I will add, yeah, I'm adding the 3 dots so that we know that it's not all. Yeah, let's put the closing bracket. Yeah, there you go. No, this, not this one. One more. There you go. And let's remove the node preview from the markdown. Yeah, I'm gonna use the first 50 characters. I think it's gonna be okay. And here we are. Yeah, you can see that the heading doesn't really look great, but you are mostly using the lists like this. So let's test it out in the normal scenario. We can adjust it as we want to. Okay, one more showcase. So I will add the link here. It won't be probably rendered because yeah, it's longer than 50 characters, but there you go. We have the list preview in place, and let's move on. Okay, the last steps in front of us. So let's fix and implement the AI assistant. Yeah, and get rid of this annoying alert. So first of all, let's double check that AI Assistant actually doesn't work. So I will try to generate one paragraph. You will see I'll get an error. So the error is caused because I'm not providing the API key, and this is basically or exactly what the alert was telling me the whole time. So I'm going to platform.openai.com, which I already have an account on. I'm opening up or creating the service account with some name. By default, you will get the write and read API key to all of the scopes. You just need the right scope for chat completions. But yeah, I will use the fully fledged API key. Of course, at the time of this video, I already deleted or revoked this API key, so it won't be usable. So I'm using the .env files. It's pretty standard way how you can basically separate your API keys out of your Git repository. So normally what I do, I just create a .env template with the name of the key, and then add it to the git ignore file. So I'm creating a template which will be committed, which will just contain the names of the API keys, and the .env file which won't be committed, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm adding the record for .env file into the git ignore, where I will store the actual values. So let's place the value in there. Okay, this is not the one. Let's copy and paste the correct value. Here you go. And now you will see that I made one mistake. I thought that the Vite application or Vite template is working the same as the Create React app. So it automatically provides all of these values for the from the .env file into the process.env module. But it's not true. So in a second you will see how I failed. So I implemented loading, and I tried to load the application, and you will see that it doesn't load the API key. Here it is. Okay, so after a couple of minutes of Googling, I found out that Vite template is using import.meta.env module to provide your .env variables. So that's what I needed to adjust it for. And if you want to use the API keys or any values from your environment in the client, you need to add the prefix Vite underscore. But this is important. This method is used for development purposes only, because if you are prefixing the Vite AI API key with the Vite prefix, the API key is then accessible from the client browser. So everybody can take, if they know what to do, everybody can take your API key and use it as their own. Of course, at the time of this, I already have my API key declined or revoked. So if you want to use it in the production, definitely go to the documentation of the CKEditor. Long story short, you just need to provide proxy and get the API key from the server. And now let's get back to the generation. So now everything is in place, and I was able to get the to-do list and get the sample content. So let's add, commit, checkout, and push. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching this video. You saw how I created or how I added the CKEditor into the simple React application, how I configure it to use specific features that I wanted, and how to put it all together with AI Assistant, PDF export, and others. If you like the video, you know what to do. Hit like or subscribe, and see you for the other ones. Bye.